Hi ladies, it's Danielle, your independent Jamberry consultant again. And that little guy in the background, that's Gizmo. He's hanging out with me today. But I wanted to show you a video that kind of wrapped up all the tips and tricks that I've learned as a consultant along the way into one more brief video or series depending on what type of nails you have. So today's video is going to show you a little bit about overall tips and tricks so that you can get the best application out of your nail wraps. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay ladies, let's talk for a second about tools, because tools are a really important part of getting a good application. They don't have to be fancy or expensive, and you may already have a lot of these, but if not, the Jamberry application kit is wonderful. I really found that when I started using those tools, my application time went down considerably, and it was well worth the investment. One tool that we'll only briefly use today are cuticle trimmers. I'll talk more about those in the baseball method application video that I have. For removing the wraps from the sheet without touching them, you'll either want some tweezers or just your orange stick. For prep work and pushing back your cuticles, either our Jamberry cuticle pusher, or I find this really helpful. I use a combination of both, but this kind you can find in some basic nail kits at big box stores, and I find that it really helps to remove all of your invisible cuticle. And then either clippers or scissors to get the wraps off, trim them down to a reasonable length before using our heavy grit file to remove all of your excess. And then you need to prep your nails, and the Jamberry Prep Wipe is wonderful, but if you don't have any of those, an alcohol swab or some alcohol on a cotton ball work just as well. And then in prepping, you want to use a buffer block or something to make sure you have a smooth nail bed. Okay ladies, so the first step to prepping your nails is to use either your cuticle pusher or a tool like this and to push back all of your excess cuticle. So I've already done that. You can see that I don't have any cuticles on my nail bed, and that I've given them a nice round shape, which I really think the rubber one comes in handy. I've filed them to a clean edge, and then I've taken the buffer block and I've buffed them so that I don't have any excess residue from the last time I had wraps on, or if you have any natural ridges in your nail, this helps to smooth things out. And then with the Jamberry nail wipe, I just finished prepping my nails so that they are oil free. And now what I'm going to do is start my application. So to begin with, I am going to take my wrap, and initially you need to size the wrap to your nail. So you really only have to do this once, maybe your second time. What I've done is I've just taken a little cheat sheet and I've written down which size of wrap fits which nail, so I know the next time readily what it is that's going to work. For my middle finger, or I'm sorry, my ring finger here, which is what I'm going to do application on today, is my ring and middle fingers. Okay, so the first step that you want to do is taking your sheet of nail wraps and you want to size it. And we get a lot of questions about how big is this sheet. You can see here it's very large. When compared to a sample sheet, it looks like this. So the first couple of wraps of the sample sheet are the first couple of wraps on your sheet. So they definitely do get larger. But you want to take this clear back wrap, and you want to figure out what size works best on each finger. You don't want the wrap to overlap onto your skin or it will lift, but if it's too small, if I tried to do this tiny wrap on my middle finger, that would look ridiculous. I would have a ton of extra nail bed showing. So the first couple of times, you'll maybe spend a little time figuring this out, but then I just wrote things down so that for the next time, I automatically know what works. So for my middle finger, I'm going to use a wrap. My middle finger is a little hard to size, so I'm going to use a wrap that actually ends up being a little too big But if I go down too small to the next size, it's way too small. So this way I can show you how to easily trim the sides as well. So for me, that is the 5th wrap. So I'm going to take this wrap and I'm going to peel it back a little bit from the sheet. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm just going to get my orange stick under there. And then I'm going to work my way back. Sometimes depending on your orange stick, as you can see, it's a little bit trickier with some sticks than others. I have one stick that won't adhere to a wrap no matter what I do, and that's actually a little worse. So once I've gotten that under there, I'm then going to take my cuticle scissors and I'm going to cut this wrap in half. If you find that you're struggling with it this way, just cut the sheet in half as well and then peel it off. So I've mostly cut that, and then I'm going to take my tweezers at this point because I find it easier this way, and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to finish cutting the wrap. And most of the time getting this exactly doesn't matter. Obviously with the more intricate patterns, it will matter a little bit more. And then I'm going to take this wrap, and this is called the cold application method. I'm going to take it and I'm going to line it up on my nail. See if I can't get this to focus for you. And I'm going to line it up on my nail just like this. I am making sure that it's straight and that I have equal amounts of coverage on both sides, this side and on that side. And everything looks great. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my heater. I am using a Jamberry mini heater, but you can do this with your blow dryer as well. Just set it on the lowest speed setting, but the highest heat setting. Wait for your heater to heat up, and then I'm just going to heat this up a little bit. If you have a normal nail, you can go straight into pressing things down the way I am about to do here. If your nail is very curvy, then you're going to want to do the baseball method, which I'll show you in another video. So you can see my wrap heated up and curved a little bit. I'm going to take my rubber cuticle pusher, or your finger works just as well, press from the back straight down the middle, and you're going to do so with a little bit of force. And then you're going to wrap around the edges. And because I do have curvy nails, I'm going to take a second and I'm going to make a little snip here so that this fits well. And I'll go into what I'm doing again a little bit more in another video, just so that this is nice and simple. If you do not have curvy nails, then you're just going to proceed forward in the same direction I'm about to do. Because I am talking, I'm going to heat up my nail wrap a lot more than I normally would. Every time it feels cool, I'm going to give it a little heat again. So you're going to take and push from the middle forward with this little snip. I've got to then go forward and back, but if you had non-curvy nails, you can just go back and forward about halfway, and then from the front and back. And the reason you want to do it that way is to make sure that your tip is sealed really, really well, because that is the area that's going to get the most wear and tear. If you find as you're doing your application the certain areas are starting to lift, just make sure you're focusing on getting those really pressed down the next time. Chances are you're not using enough pressure, or that you are you don't have enough heat. So I've gone again back to front, and then I've gone to that crease, and then from the front middle back to that crease again. And you can see I paid special attention to where that overlap is so that I have as little gap as possible. I am using a very shiny wrap, so it's easy to see where I made that cut right now. in real life, and once I'm done trimming it, it will be hardly noticeable. So I have gotten that all nice and pressed down. I'm going to heat my wrap one more time. So in a typical application, I'd heat twice. I'd heat to do all of that pressing, and then I'd heat one more time. About 5 seconds. You should start to feel some of the warmth, but you can overheat your wrap. And then I'm going to take my tweezers, and I'm going to take the corners, and I'm going to pull down and out on both ends here. And then I'm going to take the middle and pull down as well. So you can see, I can really see that line of my natural nail through there. And then just to ensure that it's all tight and snugly pressed down, I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to press nicely. My thumb here is a perfect example of what doing acrylic or gel nails does to your fingers compared with the rest of my nails, which are, or the rest of my nail bed, which is from Jamberry wraps. The acrylics obviously really damaged my fingers, so it's amazing how natural these are. So that's it. I've got my wrap pressed down. It's nice and tight. I've evened out any bumps or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cuticle scissors, or you can take your nail clippers, that's fine too. And I'm going to cut off, you see I have a lot of excess because this is a really short nail. I'm going to cut off quite a bit of that excess. Don't cut too closely because as this wrap starts to cool down, it is going to shrink. So I cut down but maybe 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch there. And then I will do this for each nail after I've gotten the wrap on. And once I've done an entire hand in this manner, then we're going to come back and file. And then with your thumb, a lot of people have a flatter nail bed when compared to other nails, which are really curvy still at the top. My thumbnail is a little bit flatter. And so one trick you can do is to take your scissors and you're just going to cut a little bit of this curve off. So you can see I've made that flat. So now when I go to apply this on my nail, it is fitting the curve of my nail a lot better. It still gives you a little extra play over here that doesn't fit quite right. You can further round that and kind of trim it up. For me, it doesn't bother me too much because it's not a big deal. And then you are going to take either your finger or the rubber cuticle pusher and you're going to push down. So you're going to focus here on the tips and you're going to, at the back of your nail bed, and you're going to work your way towards the tip. And I do this doing the cold application method, so you can tell my wrap is not warmed up yet. And now I'm going to warm it up. So about 5 seconds or so in front of the heater. Start to feel the heat, your wrap will start to curve a little bit. And then you can either make your cuts here, which I will explain in another video, or if you have straighter nail beds, you don't have to make these cuts. You're just going to follow the same movements that I do, but your wrap will be solid. So you'll work from the back to the front middle. So because of my cuts, I'm going to work back and I'm going to stop at this line. Again, if you don't have to do this because you don't have curvy nails, just pick what seems like the center point of your wraps. So I'm going to start here in the back and I'm going to press my way forward, and then I'm going to start at the tip and I'm going to press it down and out a little bit, so that I am not left with any bubbles in the middle of my wrap on like the sides of my finger. And if this takes you a minute to do, it is perfectly okay to heat up your wraps again. There is nothing wrong with doing that. You want to make sure that your wraps are warm as you're working with this. So I'm going to heat everything up again. And then I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to pull down at the corners and kind of out. Again, this is very important if you have curvy nails. and then I'm gonna pull down at the bottom. Be careful not to pull too hard. The first time I did this, I definitely stretched my wrap. You don't have to pull very hard. And then I am gonna take my finger and I'm gonna give it one final push. I'll take care of these little overlaps here off camera in a minute as I do the rest of my nails. But for most gals, this is all you need to do to achieve a good wrap. I'm gonna let this cool down. If it was too long, I would also trim off some excess, which I'll do here just for demonstration purposes. I'd take my cuticle scissors or nail clippers and I would trim this down so that's a reasonable length while I'm working. Don't trim it down too far. You can see here you've got some of my nails sticking through at the back, because if you trim it down too far, it will shrink and you'll see a lot of your nail as it starts to cool, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to finish up the rest of my hand, and then I'll come back to show you how to file this once it's cooled down. Okay, so the last thing we need to do now that our wraps are cool, I've also trimmed mine using my snag-free method so that I don't have any overlap. I flattened out any areas that I couldn't see during demonstration of the videos so that everything is nice and smooth. And now what I'm going to do is file it. So I like using my Jamberry nail file because it's very heavy grit. This seems to work for me the best. And I am going to take this nail file and I'm going to file at a 45-degree angle. It is very important to start up and down and to get off as much of your wrap as possible doing it in this direction. You only want to go from the top straight down. If you do it the other way, you're just lifting off your freshly applied wrap. And if you have short nails or your nails curve a lot, you may have to get in there and kind of do a sideways action just to get under your wrap, but make sure that you're still doing that as much as a downward angle as possible. So you can see because of how much my nails curve, they're really close to my skin and I kind of have to get under there. But I do it still pulling down, never side to side. So I'm gonna finish this up here. It is usually pretty quick when you're doing this where it is a little more visible to you. You can do this pretty quickly. And then just make sure that it's not stuck to your nail and that you're not filing because it's stuck to your skin, that it actually is still attached to your nail. So I'm going to file up these edges real quick. So you can see I kind of have to use a sideways angle just because of the direction, but I did that as minimally as I possibly could. And then sometimes using your cuticle trimmers or your nail clippers can really help you to get in there too. So now to finish it off, for some people you'll feel that this is really rough, or if you're using your nail as tools a lot, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of your nail bed exposed so that you aren't using your wraps as that tool that you're using your nails. Okay, so you can see here now that I finished filing, you can see just the tiniest bit of my natural nail bed poking through under the tip of the wrap, and that is what you want so that your nail would take the brunt of anything you end up doing with your fingers, prying open packages or even typing, and your nail wrap is nice and protected. So whatever way you prefer to get this with a regular Jamberry file or a glass one is just fine. If you ladies have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. I hope this video helps you. Have a great day.